2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple, who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
We've hit a new rock bottom. Where do we go from here?
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
Brannon, how's it going, man?
It's going well. What are you up to this week? Find that treasure?
I had to give up on the treasure hunting, even though new clues came out just a couple of days ago, and of course I'm on to a new lead now. So
yeah, it sounds like you've given up on it.
It's like I feel almost like. Do you ever remember watching a cartoon when we were kids, Mr. Toad? Do you remember anything about Mr. Toad?
Kind of, yeah.
It's like this guy. I think it was a cartoon that was a play off of like
Wind of the Willows.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of like that, and it was a play off of what I think was manic depression, because basically, Mr. Toad is this guy who's like always like, I want to go do this thing and this thing and this thing, and then he goes crazy, he gets like wild, he gets the car, and like that's what kind of like Gold Fever is for me with this treasure hunt. So I purposely had to set bottom lines around it that it's like, Tyler, you cannot look at any of the clues this week.
You know what it reminds me of? Like, and I don't know why I associate these things, but like, remember that dude that used to dress up in all the armor and stuff with the fake swords and shields in his front?
In our neighborhood?
Next to Bailey's house. And you get out and role play. Like, it seems like you're going down that road a little bit. I don't know.
I haven't gone and gotten my like pirate's hat yet, but yeah,
you're a treasure hunter.
I'm totally. I for a weekend I was totally immersed. I mean, I literally went 24 hours without sleeping looking for it. So I've tempered it back down. I'm managing my own addictive personality behavior now.
I got a resource for you.
I might need it here. So. Anyway, we before we get to our caller today, Brannon, we just wanted to reemphasize we have dates set for the next Rising Sun retreat, September 26th through the 29th. It is one of the capstone things that we do every year. This is a men's retreat for men looking to reclaim their heart, wrestle with God, take their recovery to a deeper level, not just recovery, but take your heart work to a deeper level. And if you're interested, risingsun.org, risingson.org is the place to go check it out and see if it's going to be something that speaks to you. We'd love to have you.
This thing fills up. So the sooner you can get your spot, the better. We're also a little behind the eight ball. I mean, we're just a few months away. So sign up now, get your spot, and can't wait to see you there.
All right, let's jump into it today. We have a really courageous caller here today with a really good question that I think will be pertinent for a lot of people. So, Karla, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, would you just give us a little bit of your story, your background, and ask your question?
Yes. So, my husband and I have been married for almost 10 years this year. We are high school sweethearts, so we're pretty young, and we've been all together like 14, 15 years. So it feels like pretty much half of our lives at this point. And it was 3 years ago that I found out that he was like very deep into pornography and sexual addiction, and had been since childhood. So a lot like the other stories I hear in you guys' podcast, since he was like 8 years old, hid it from me constantly. And throughout our relationship, there were discoveries, but I was very codependent myself and tried to like not fully see what was going on. But 3 years ago, it was a big discovery that led us into the recovery journey and going to a full disclosure, which happened 2 years ago. And that was really hard for me. I found out about not just pornography and sexual addiction, but a lot of relationships and infidelity. He had been constantly through our marriage, and I was completely like not in the know of any of it. And we have 2 kids, so that was like really hard. But we worked with our church that has been very supportive, and also through a recovery program to get healthier. And so it's been going really well. I think if he's been honest, the last relapse, it's been like a year or so. So he's been really healthy, and I've been seeing him do the work, and he's been leading his own men's group, like both at our church and then with the recovery program. But we've had new issues resurface, like conflict resolution tends to be really hard for us. And most recently, like 2 months ago, we've talked with our counselors about how I have a lot of anger, and I tend to get really big in our conflicts. So he's supposed to set boundaries, and I'm supposed to respect those boundaries, right? And those usually look like him saying, like, I'm really triggered, like, this conversation is not productive, like, let's pause it. And I have a really hard time respecting that, because I feel like sometimes his boundaries are very manipulative and very abusive, and he takes out the I'm triggered, we shouldn't keep talking flag when I'm getting to a point about his health. And so I have to then immediately shut up, or immediately leave the room, or immediately, stop the conversation because he set this boundary, and I feel trapped, for lack of a better word. So 2 months ago, he set this boundary and I couldn't be present. So I left the house. And then he was calling me, telling me that I was abandoning him, that I was abandoning the kids, that not to come back. And so when I talk with my counselors, I was like, this feels like I'm trapped. Like I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I not. Because if I stay and push, then I'm pushing his boundary, and that leads to a big blowout. And then if I leave, then he's also calling me and telling me that I'm like this awful mother and this awful wife. So we worked through that a bit, and we made a bit of like a escape plan, I guess, like a small escape plan for me of like when I'm feeling that I'm getting very, very big, what to do, But last week, I didn't follow that plan. We got into a big argument. He set a boundary, and I didn't respect it because I felt like I had been respecting boundaries over the whole weekend. Like, we had an argument that started on Saturday. He said, I'm getting flooded. I respected it. Sunday, he didn't want to talk to me. I respected that. And by Monday, I just had enough, because I feel like he uses those boundaries to just like not talk to me, to just not communicate. And I blew up. And rather than doing what I'm supposed to do, which is leave, step away, I like charged and attacked him. And he attacked back. And I ended up with a fractured tailbone, and it blew into a whole like domestic violence case because police were called. He spent a night in jail. And so that's where the question leads to right now. Like, this feels like we're a new rock bottom. We have been working on what I thought was the lowest we've ever been before. And now it just feels like we've added a whole new layer to this cake that neither of us know like what to do with, because we look at each other and we're like, are we in an abusive relationship now? Like how scary this is, how much worse is it going to get? How can we fix it? Yeah, so we need help.
Karla, can I ask you, so is this is the first time that in your relationship that things have gotten physical like this?
Yes, it's the first time that they've gotten physical like this. It's not the first time that they've gotten physical. Usually I am the person like that I've gotten so mad in discoveries that I've like slapped him, or I've like tried to hit him. And he's always just like held me down or used his words and being like, you need to calm down. And I tend to like calm down, but usually I'm the person that gets physical. I've never had him hit back or push back. And this was the first time that he did. And it was big.
You ended up with did you say a cracked tailbone?
Yes. So in order to like stop me, he picked me up by the waist and then kind of did the whole like slamming me into my back thing. And so I had a fractured tailbone out of that.
Gotcha. So this isn't exactly where we need to go, but I was trying to understand it. So there's currently open legal cases too right now around this. This has already been reported.
It's been reported, yes, because I had to go into the emergency room, and I was honest about the whole situation. And in the state that we're in, the law is that he just immediately has to go to jail, but he was not persecuted against. Like, I did not file a whole report. He was let go the next day. And in terms of like safety, like I feel safe in the sense that like I know this was a freak incident, almost like anger has just been piled up and boundaries have been not used correctly. And so I don't feel unsafe in the sense of like, oh, he's an abusive person in general and he does this constantly. But I do feel unsafe of like, who is this person and why was the whole thing different this time? Do you know what I mean?
Karla, I just want to say before we really dive in here, for you to be here talking with us, trying to figure this out and trying to get some answers is awesome. A lot of times when stuff like this happens, it goes underground. People are too embarrassed. They're really scared to talk about the consequences of something like this, and they discount the consequences of it because they're worried about the repercussions of what all of this means. And so for you to be here takes tremendous amounts of courage, and to even talk about your stuff and your part in what happened too takes a lot of courage. So I just want to start by just really praising you and applauding you for talking right now. And so we'll dive into this. There's a lot of history here. What you just said, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
And so, it's where do we begin? And I think we need to begin with where you're at right now and just making sure you're safe and that you feel safe.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you do, right?
Yes. We are currently, we immediately talked to our counselors this week. And when he came out of jail, I told him that he needed to be out of the house at least until we talked to our counselors and got like further feedback from them. We managed to get a hold of them. They're the counselors that have helped us through the whole recovery. So they know all the history there. And they were kind of like, shocked and like surprised as well. And now we're out of their scope technically. So they were just like, this is like, we've helped you guys with the sexual addiction. Now you guys need to find like marriage counseling that will help you guys through a therapeutic separation. And so right now, I guess the immediate action was that we're both currently doing therapeutic separation out of the house for a month. And we both have full custody of the kids. Like we both drafted a plan, and I'm out of the house and I'm coming in the mornings to pick up the kids, hang out with them because it's, it's summer and I'm not working in the summer. So, and then they recommended, because we have small kids, that if we still want to work through things after this 1 month, that we do like an in-house separation for at least 2 more months. And they've also recommended that each of us find like domestic violence classes or some sort of support, both as victims and perpetrators, which is like the hard part for me. Like when I was looking for resources, it just felt really scary to read some of the things about domestic violence and to think like, am I this monster? Is he now going to be this monster? And like, thinking about the impacts of our kids.
There's a lot of emotion there too, Karla. What's the emotion? Yeah. What's the emotion that's coming up for you as you're saying all of this?
I think it's mainly fear. I never thought that it could get this bad, especially because it felt like it was getting way better compared to like where we were 3 years ago. And I felt like we were both doing our job. But after doing like a crash analysis of the incidents and stuff, I realized that we were getting very comfortable in our recovery and not completely continuing to do recovery. I was just asking questions about like, I just wanted to know if he'd relapse or if he was making calls and things like that. But we weren't really digging deep into the anger and manipulation that like had been resurfacing in our conflicts. So I guess it's just fear. It's fear that, of what the future looks like in our relationship if we continue to be together. Like, how are we going to handle those conflicts?
That's a legitimate thing to have right now, I think, is that fear. And inside of that fear, I almost heard a little bit of self-judgment too, like almost like seeing yourself and or him as a monster almost. Like, how could I be capable of these things, or how could we be capable of these things? And I think it's okay to I think anybody in your shoes would ask those kinds of questions. The trick is to not get stuck in that space, because that won't be that helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
Go ahead, Brannon.
I was just going to say that the question here is whether or not you, and when I say you, I mean both of you, you truly use this as a wake-up call or not. And I hear a lot of guilt and shame about lines that were crossed, Karla, and a lot of fear too about what this means for the future. This could catapult you guys into something good. Or it could lead down this road again and again and get worse. It depends on what. What does it depend on, Karla?
On us actually doing the work this time around and realizing that we can't just get comfortable and think that things are totally fine. Like, they're really never going to be totally fine because we're both really traumatized, and we just got to constantly put in the work to make sure that we're both being healthy as much as possible.
Yep. It's prioritizing that work on yourself and prioritizing that work on the relationship. Because if you don't, like, you fall into old patterns and it leads you to scary places. And so you are right on that. And it doesn't mean that you're constantly tired, and it means you get to do the fun, good, healthy work of learning how to be a healthy human being, which can be challenging at times. But
before
Yes.
we move that direction, Brannon, I just want to follow up with your first question, Brannon. And Karla, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that based off of the plan that you've established between your therapists and you're currently feeling safe right now. And the situation is that you don't currently feel like there's a risk of harm right now.
Yes, I'm safe right now.
Okay. The plan that you came up with your therapist, does that feel good to you?
Yes, it feels good to me on paper, but actually doing it is really hard. Like we did the switch yesterday where like I left the house yesterday and he's staying with the kids in the house. And that was really hard. Like when I arrived at the room where I'm staying for the month, I just felt, all the shock of it all over again. And
of course,
it felt like, again, my codependency kicks in these moments and I feel like, but he's not actually abusive. And it wasn't like this ever. So I'm just going to go back home and be with my kids and be fine. But I tried to remind myself that I don't want this happening ever again. So if this hard thing is what we have to do right now, then I'm up for it. It's just really hard day by day to be here by myself.
I wonder, now that we've got your safety established and that is in place, that's first and foremost, but now we can kind of get into like some of these other layers here. And I think you just brought one up that actually, this sounds weird, but this might be an opportunity as a result of what has to be in place for your safety, for you to actually take a look at that codependency part that you're talking about. If we were to go back and kind of, and you did this already, but if we were to break down what happened between the two of you, I bet you that there was a buildup over maybe weeks or even months that led to the culmination of this isolated event that happened with the physical part of it. But the buildup never even gets addressed. And that's part of what's going to be the issue is that there was this dance that you and him were doing of unhealthy connection, unhealthy attachment that led to frustrations on both parts until the point that it kind of crested over the top and it blew up.
Yeah, I could see that.
Tyler, as we get into this, Karla, as we talk to you, I think both of us want you to move forward and to have safety and to get better. And in doing that, we're going to have to talk to you about things that you need to shift and you need to do. And there absolutely are things that you need to shift. In no way are we taking away accountability from him.
It's both.
Yeah. And a man getting physical with a woman, like it's no matter what the circumstance or why or however it built up, never okay. Right. Like, I just want to put that disclaimer here. Yeah. But now you get to see whether this is an isolated event that you guys learn a great deal from, or this becomes a pattern. And in domestic violence, abusive relationships, the pattern starts to happen where there's this event of abuse that happens. Then after that, there's this apology, like there's this make it better, say I'll never do that again, and then it happens again. And a buildup happens and it happens again. And what you want to make sure of, Karla, is you don't get caught in the pattern, the cycle of abuse. and that you take this and you say, okay, like everything needs to be different now. I really like your therapist's recommendations of the space that you're taking and the structure that you have around that space. I would just make sure that that's paired with the work that you do while you have that space, and making sure that you have that work. And you're saying it's hard to, you're researching things. Make sure you're aiming at the right target when it comes to the work. What work needs to be done. And if you look at yourself, you talk about struggle with conflict resolution. I'm hearing some anxious attachment issues, some reactive attachment stuff. And so to look at why the Tyler just said, maybe this is opportunity for you to look at your codependency. That's where I would begin when it comes to your work, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting just hearing the short version we just got, which I know there's a lot more to it than what you could explain to us right now. But he starts setting boundaries, and it sounds like in the boundaries, it feels like he pushes you away, but then there's never a touch point to come back on his part. And on this occasion, because you had felt like you'd been rejected for a couple of days, you just weren't going to be rejected anymore. And that blew over the top, and that became physical on your end.
Yes.
And
that's very much like the pattern in our conflicts. Like,
it's also,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you got the pattern.
But on this one time, you actually took the space away, gave him the space you wanted, and then this time he sets the boundary, you feel overwhelmed, and then in your own boundaries, you decided to take some space, and now he's the one chasing you and saying you're running away and you don't care about your kids and your family, and he's got his own like reactive attachment going on too, and he actually pulled you back into it, but now you're like, I'm stuck, I'm trapped, I feel I don't know where else to go. I'm doing the right thing by taking distance, and now I'm being told that I'm a bad person because I did take the distance, which is so hard for me to take. So then you come back, but you don't know what else to do. And then boom, this thing blows up, and then you guys are off to the races. So there's like logistical things that need to be put in place to make sure you guys never get to this again. What Brannon's saying is so important. This cannot become a new habit loop. Like, this isn't the type of thing where you play it out, and if it happens 2 or 3 more times, it's okay. This cannot happen.
Yeah.
You guys can't do this with each other anymore. And if either one of you is unwilling to play by the rules of never getting physical again, you're going to have a very short leash before you have to make decisions that this isn't good.
Yeah.
The physical part is too important. It can't do that. But now what Brannon's saying is, okay, so we got the logistical things that need to be put in place, a plan that says, hey, here's how we're going to make sure we never get physical with each other again. Now let's go to work on the proper targets, and the proper targets. And I think this is where the blessing and the gift might be coming in with what your therapists are doing is Karla has to learn how to be okay by herself for a minute. She's going to have moments where she comes back to a room all by herself with loneliness and self-judgment and doubts and fears. And she's going to have a chance to wrestle with those things in a way that she can actually come to know herself differently. She can actually get familiar with herself. She can actually maybe learn to like herself differently or know herself in a more complete way. And those things will actually yield dividends in the long run because she'll be able to show up in the relationship from a different place if that work happens.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I mentioned in the past, I've been the person to get physical, and because of that, and this is the first time he gets physical in response. Because of that, I feel like the work right now really is on me to figure out how will I not get physical again, because I do struggle with that. Like, when I think of that moment, I didn't have a time to think that if I was going to get physical or not. I just did. I just had no control over it. And that's the part that's scary for me, of like, how can I possibly stop that when it's just like an urge, like a button just gets pushed and I'm going.
Karla, was it modeled to you in any way? Like as a kid, or did you experience or see violence in your home?
Yeah, I feel like I have memories of similar situations at home where my mom was the physical person. Um, the difference is that my dad never ever seemed to attack back. Like it wasn't my dad never attacked back. So I saw my mom get physical very many times.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I just wonder, and I know in your head you know the answer to this, but like, is there some level of, hey, I have permission as a woman to do this? You know, like I can, he can always stop me, but I can hit him. I can do this, but and that's okay.
Yeah, I feel like subconsciously, yes, that has been, and that's part of what's so scary about the situation, that now that I saw that he could very much stop me and hurt me, I'm just shocked and scared and like, definitely thinking to myself, like, okay, I can never do this again. One, because I don't want to hurt him. And two, now I know that he's capable of hurting me pretty bad. And so, yeah, so I want to stop it. And I agree that this should never happen again for all those reasons. But
yeah. And you don't want, I mean, you don't want your motivation to never do this again is that you have a man that's scary that you live with. But that's true. It's true now.
yeah.
That happened. But rather the motivation inside of yourself to say, within my integrity and the way I want to set an example to my kids and live my life,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this again. Right. No. And yeah, there's some work to do because this has been modeled to me. And I need to absolutely shift some things so that I don't cross those lines. A lot of this has to do with, just emotion regulation work. It's dealing with your emotions and getting aware and having tools, but I would guess, and Tyler, I'd like your 2 cents on this too. I would guess that the emotion regulation work connected to the attachment issues is really hard. It's like, okay, I can regulate my emotions, but I feel like there's nothing I can do to be heard or seen or whatever. So like, I just go there because I have to. Do you understand what I'm saying, Karla?
Yes, that's very much what it feels like. Like in this example, I tried to regulate my emotions. Like when he set a boundary because I was getting big, I was like, okay, I'm getting big. I need to respect this boundary. And, we gave each other time. And then when we were both calm and I tried to talk to him and I was like, hey, is this a good time to talk? There was another reason. He was like, no, I'm tired, or no, got to wake up early tomorrow. And so it's like 2 days pass where things are just getting pushed back. And I'm always the person that has to respect those boundaries, because the moment I don't, I blow up and everything is my fault. It feels like everything is my fault at the end of the day, no matter what I do.
Yeah, and you get put in kind of this powerless position of he has the boundaries and there's never any reconciliation unless you blow up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really no different than it is when you watch a young child. You've got kids, so you'll know this. Have you ever had the experience or been the child who's done this where you go to your parent and you say, Mom, 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 and you get ignored forever. And then when your mom finally responds, she doesn't go, oh, dear child, like, what were you wanting from me? But instead your mom's like, what? Stop touching me. Stop saying this and that and the other. Like,
yes,
that's it's a childhood attachment thing that's happening here between you and your husband, where you guys have the discussion, it gets amped, you did the right thing by taking the time away, and in the gap between whenever you come back and not, there needs to be this temperature check where one or the other of you acknowledges each other and says, even if I'm not ready to talk yet, I see you. Like I'm still trying to figure out how to get my feet planted properly. I'm still trying to get how to get my head right, but I do see you and I do want to get back to you and I want to talk with you again. Now, what's happening to that little child is the child is doing what the child is trying to is naturally built to do, to try to keep attachment. And when the child feels abandoned, they get louder, 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 louder. And then when the parent snaps at them, it actually reinforces the wrong things. And what needs to happen is just a little bit of a mom in that situation being able to put a hand on the child's arm and saying, just a minute, let me talk. I'll be talking to you in a second, or hold on a second, buddy, or whatever else it is. It's just that little touch point of, are you there for me? Do you still see me? Do you know that I'm there? And in those gaps of distance, as long as there's a couple of those threads, for most people, they can go, okay, I really want to just patch this up, but okay, I'll wait for another couple minutes or another couple hours or a day or two. I just need to be reassured that you still see me and know that I'm still out here in no man's land waiting to try to polish this thing back up.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that brings up a lot of emotions, because I feel like that's part of it, that I don't feel seen. I don't feel like he's trying to talk to me or communicate with me. I feel like he's just pushing me away. And I fear that he's not doing any work to fix what we even started with. He just keeps pushing me away, And actually, it was very interesting how this happened, because I came into his office and we had like a healthy banter. So kind of like what you just said, like where he was just like, yeah, I see you. Life is still happening, beneath this argument that's on hold. And then what triggered everything was that I just asked him for something and I didn't say please. And all of a sudden it was like I pushed a button there, and we went from like being okay and kind of both knowing like we're going to eventually talk about this later, to him being like following me and being like, hey, like, don't make demands of me. When you ask for something, say please. And so I was just kind of like shocked, because I was like, what just happened? Like, I checked in with you. You seemed okay. I don't always say please. And he followed me. Like, he actually went out of his way to like talk to me about this. But when I had questions, when I was like, why are you so upset? Like, what just happened? Then he puts his boundary again, and he's like, I don't have time to talk to you right now, And so it's just this frustration of like, clearly there's something wrong here. I've been trying to get to it. You keep telling me you don't have time to talk to me, but then you get upset about little things like this, and you come and tell me like, hey, stay in your lane. Hey, don't treat me like that. And I'm supposed to just follow through. Like, I'm really just supposed to do what he says. And the minute I don't, it explodes. So I followed him back, and I was like, I don't understand where this anger is coming from. And then he just started being like, I'm working. I don't have time for you right now. And then just cursing me. And that's where I blew my lid, and I just couldn't make further decisions.
I think Karla, I'm seeing all kinds of control go on here, in all different ways, and all kinds of drama. And so, it's easy to point at the aggression and the rage as the big problem, and it is a problem. The lack of emotion regulation. The stonewalling is just as nasty in a relationship as the rage. And so it's important for both of you to be aware of your motives. And sometimes, like if he has boundaries, he might legitimately be showing up boundaried in a healthy way, and you might feel like it's stonewalling. And so, like, I'm sure he knows deep down that he has a lot of control over you. When he can stonewall and walk away and like just let you flounder over there, or when he can lob things at you like you're abandoning the family. And the reason he does those things is because they work.
Yeah.
Right? And this is actually a boundary issue. And the boundary is not like I'm not talking about like a physical boundary or a space thing. This is a an internal boundary issue, Karla, knowing where he stops and you begin, and for him knowing where you stop and he begins. I don't get my worth from you. I don't need you to be okay. I am okay unto myself. And right now, it doesn't sound like you're okay unto yourself, and vice versa with him. And for that reason, there's this push and pull and manipulation and drama and all this stuff going on between the two of you until it gets combustible and gets to this point where it's just like kaboom.
Yeah.
You guys need to separate in many ways. And what I mean by that is your relationship needs to be different in terms of I am separate from you. I'm an individual here in this relationship. And I know I'm telling you something you already know with this codependency stuff. But for you to look at, why am I over attached here in this relationship? What am I trying to get from him that I need? And how can I get, Tyler said it earlier when he said, go back to your room where you're alone and figure out how to be okay. That really is at the crux of this for you. So.
Yeah.
And with the details that we have here, it's also at the crux for him. Like I just have to be transparent with my own feelings right now, that I know we're talking to you, Karla, and that's where we're going right now. But I do want to acknowledge that there's a whole other side of this. And he's got a lot of responsibility that he needs to take ownership for in his own self, with what Brannon said about the stonewalling and it's almost like he gets to put up the wall and then watch you flounder. And then he's like, see, she's crazy. She's crazy. She's crazy. But then the minute you take a break, he's like, you're a bad mom. I can't believe you're abandoning me. Like, what are you doing? Like, there is such a control issue there. And if you guys want the relationship that you claim to have, he's going to have to learn how to step into vulnerability and actually be real with his feelings rather than shutting you down every time it gets close. And that means both of you guys have parallel paths of a quest to understand yourself and your own heart and your own value, so that you can offer your strengths to one another rather than trying to take from each other for your own value. Because right now what you've got two people who are emotionally like teetering on the edge of being bankrupt, and you're trying to get your value from one another with no currency to pass back and forth. And so the surrender of the control and the pursuit of two people really tapping into who they are would allow you guys to grow into a new relationship that would say, I'm Karla and I offer this, and I'm going to ask you this curious question about why did that hit that button for you? And the minute you blow up on me or tell me that I'm this or I'm going to take that space, but I'm not going to take it personally. Like, I asked the right question to you because I care about you and I want to know you. And then he'll be the one that takes the time out and has to come back and say, oh man, like this hit a nerve inside of me. Like, I felt out of control and I felt scared and I felt even a little bit seen. And yeah, like, sorry, I had to go get my feet planted again, but I'm here now and let's keep working. I want to share this with you. Like, go ahead, Brannon.
Well, Tyler, it's crazy as you're talking, isn't it nuts when somebody stays grounded and in their truth, how that then leads to an opportunity for the other person to actually look within and know themselves?
It actually passes accountability back to the other person without being like, it's your problem. It's more of just like, I'm here. Like, I know who I am. I know what I'm offering. I know what I'm trying to give here. And then all of a sudden the person can be like, but you did this. Maybe I did. You're right. And I'm sorry about that. And I want to understand you.
Right.
You know? It's like, yeah, there's power in that. And now what you're doing is instead of a power and control based relationship, it's a connection based relationship because we both know we have something to give rather than take.
Mm.
Does that make sense, Karla?
Yes, it makes sense.
It's this, Tyler, I want to reiterate what he just said. It's this parallel process of he needs to take accountability for knowing how to knock you off your rocker. Like, he knows how. And he needs to take accountability and awareness that, yeah, I'm doing that. You, Karla, need to do your work to not get knocked off your rocker regardless.
No matter
right?
what.
No matter what, is to be able to stay in my truth, to act with my integrity in these moments. And then that will give him an opportunity to actually look at himself if you're able to do that. This is extremely hard, Karla. What we're talking about is difficult, right? Because all of your past trauma and all of your past stuff will come up and say, I need love. I need to withdraw from him. I need it to be able to say, no, I don't. I'm okay. And I can stay grounded here. That's really hard. So what are you thinking, Karla?
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I agree that he knows how to push me over that edge where I get physical. And I feel like then comes the guilt and the shame, that happens every time we meet with our counselors after the conflict. And, it turns into, well, Karla took it to physicality, and the whole counseling thing is focusing on how I'm not going to do that again. But then I feel like there's not ever the work on his end of how are you not going to push me there, or I know like that I'm supposed to control my own emotions and control myself, but I also feel very pushed over the edge where I feel trapped, and my mind and my body just responds into like attack mode because this is the only way that I can escape this situation. So I agree with you that I have to do the work to not ever be knocked off my rocker. But I don't know what that work looks like or where to go. I feel very trapped in that sense now. It's like, how do I make sure I don't ever do this again?
Yeah, I can hear that question inside of you, Karla, and I see it kind of as layers. One is that we again from the beginning, safety first, and then after the safety, it's more about Karla's work for Karla. This is and see it as a process. This part won't be perfect, but it'll be a process. So if you get the logistics of making sure, hey, we can't get physical, and here's our new bottom lines for how we're going to communicate so that doesn't happen, which you and your therapist are putting in place pretty well right now if you'll follow them. The next step is now Karla gets to go and do a couple of things. She gets to go and dive into what Brannon was talking about. Like, what is it that I'm trying to extract from him that is so desperately needed? Because that's going to teach me some things about myself. And when I realized that this is something I'm trying to take from him to feel the void of blank, being good enough, being desirable, being safe, being whatever it is. Now I can go and dive into my own personal work on my trauma work with, all the stuff we talk about, IFS or EMDR or ART, combination of those things. I'm going to be able to go to work on those things for myself. I'm also going to wake up every day and I'm going to start, instead of living from this place of just pure fear, I'm going to start trying to fill the tank in my life, the emotional tank, with something that's more akin to self-care, some self-compassion, love, connection. I need to do some self-care every day. I need to fill the tank every day with some energy to burn that's something other than fear. Because fear will continue to perpetuate itself. If fear's a great last line of defense, but it's horrible for a sustainable source of energy. And so I've got to actually start taking care of myself. And when I do that, the byproduct will be over time that I start to actually believe that I'm worth taking care of, that I believe I'm worth taking care of. So instead of going and saying, you husband, you need to show me that I'm worth taking care of, you're going to go and say, I already know that I'm worth taking care of, and I want you to treat me with respect. Right. And so you're going to be doing your own individual kind of like growing work. And then what Brannon said, I think is really important. The third part of that treatment is I really do need to develop a little bit more of a toolbox of some emotion regulation skills. And that's where I think a class like the ones your therapist are recommending, like a DV class, a lot of those DV classes are geared specifically around emotional regulation type training, tools, techniques. Something like a DBT class, if not that, would do the same thing right there. What Brannon's showing you, DBT skills training.
Go get that workbook. Karla.
Brannon's for our listeners, he's showing a picture of the DBT skills training manual by Marsha Lenehan, and it's a workbook that she wrote. She's the founder of DBT, and that's those skills I think would be very valuable for you.
Yeah.
To just be working on and developing.
So just on a very basic practical level, DBT, CBT would be good, Karla. But to actually practice the skills in DBT, Tyler's a master at it. He's got all kinds of training in DBT. So DBT, you need to develop a new team around you, and maybe your current therapists are part of that. Maybe they're not, depending on whether they're assets or not. But shifting to a therapist that can really support you, having a support system of women around you who empower you to act in your truth. In those moments when you want to slap him across the face, you make a phone call to one of them and you say, "I want to slap
role play the skills."
Yeah. And you role play the DBT skills, and they walk you through and they help you. So a team around you, new skills to develop. And then I would really put an emphasis, and this is in DBT, on practicing mindfulness every day for you, Karla, because you're losing your mind. You're doing things you don't want to do. And so to learn how to control your thoughts and your feelings and to be in the present moment. And that can be really simple to practice mindfulness. But that will help you in those really hard moments to stop and say, whoa, like I need to be present here. And so these are the skills in order to manage life. What's underneath it is the therapeutic work to say, why am I so codependent? What's with my attachment? What's going on here? Once I get these skills, I can create the safety. Karla, what sucks, and you said this earlier, when you get physical, it is the bull in the china closet, when either one of you does, because safety is number one. So we can't do any other therapy work really until we make sure that everybody's safe. So you want to do this type of work, the DBT, the emotion regulation, the mindfulness, in order to not go back to those behaviors. But that's not the end all be all, Karla. The real work is then the
deeper work.
The deeper work. So
that might feel a little overwhelming, but you can take it a step at a time and take it in that order. Safety first, skills training for emotion regulation and mindfulness, and then get into that deeper work. And you can do that in conjunction with each other, but that should be the order that you kind of look at it from.
All the while having some pretty good boundaries and being just very, very careful about your relationship with your husband at this point. Just making sure that you're set up to succeed here and not going back into the whole thing with him, which will undermine your process of healing here.
What are you thinking and feeling right now, Karla?
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys breaking it down for me like that in those 3 levels. That really helps me understand like my next steps right now. And we know we're checking off safety from the list right now with the separation. And then the next thing will be to look into this like DBT skills training for me. I just wish, I'm a little frustrated because I feel like that's exactly what we needed before this blew off, yes. Like we definitely needed the DBT and the deeper work. And it just sucks that we have to go back almost into like feeling safe first. But I guess this is what it takes for us to understand that there's more work to do.
It'll either, and I think that's good. It's okay that you're frustrated. It's also, depending on how you see it, it's also potentially the catalyst for change in your relationship for something even deeper and better. You've got the bones of figuring out how to stay sober and getting through betrayal and all of that stuff. you're actually doing pretty well at that. And I would say don't throw out the baby with the bathwater here. You're doing some good things. You've actually started to set up boundaries in your relationships that are messy and they're not quite there yet, but you're working on those. And those are going to be important and valuable things to keep working on. And so I'd say give yourself credit for where you've come from. The only reason you're here is because of the progress you've actually made. It sounds weird, but this is a catalyst for change now. If you choose to use it that way, and then there's hope here. Like, you need to be very careful that this thing doesn't get physical and turn into habits, like Brannon said, but it can change you guys if you'll let it. And it can actually forge something deeper in the long run. It'll be the thing you look back on 5 years from now and go, man, we never want to do that again. But man, I'm so glad that called us to action.
Yeah.
And Karla, I mean, I hate to say this, or it could lead to you getting divorced because you're getting so healthy and you're progressing and getting better, and divorce is what happens. So we don't know the outcome, but the beauty of it is the healing and the moving forward is all within your hands. You're able to do that from your side of the fence.
No matter what.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both very much. It's been really helpful.
Karla, thank you for coming on today. Best of luck to you and to your husband. You're awesome for being willing to bring yourself on and share the way that you did today. So thank you.
Really appreciate you, Karla. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Imagine for some of you who are listening, there's probably a wide range of emotions that you're going through, and even your own critiques of how Brannon and I might have handled this. We would love to hear about all of that. If you'd like to throw out a word of encouragement to Karla, the best way to do that is through the leaving reviews for our show and mention her specifically. And until next time, you guys, keep on keeping on.